Hi, Lee Furseth from the Headwaters Science Center. This is the book I'm going to start with today. It is called Science Feats, Breakthroughs for Vaccinations. Vaccines. And I'll get to that book in just a little bit. I want to tell you that Orion is with me, and he loves to hear books that have rabbits in them. That's his favorite one. I hate to tell you, Orion, there's only one page in all 4 books that I'm going to read today that has anything to do with rabbits. But there is a mention of a rabbit, so if you don't mind, I'm still going to read these books that I brought along today. I do have a live audience, and from time to time you might even hear them if you're out there in the virtual world listening in today. We do 3:30 shows about 4 days a week now, and you are very welcome to come to the Science Center and have them in person, or you can listen to them through our virtual networks, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch TV. And we do this at 3:30. We are open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 9:30 to 5 o'clock. And on Sundays, we're open from 1 to 5. So, one of the most important things that I want you to remember about a book, when you go to the library and you pick one off the shelf, especially if it is from the nonfiction side of the library, you might want to go and check what is called the copyright. How come that's important? It gives you an idea of when the book might have been written. It's almost always in tiny print right towards the front. I'm going to show it to the camera. I bet you can't even see it. I'm going to show it over here. It's always somewhere towards close to the front, kind of after the title page. The copyright of this book is 2021. So it's a pretty recent book. But if you think about vaccines and what may have happened since 2021, that's when it was actually released, or the copyright, it was actually written before that, there may have been some new discoveries about vaccines since the book was published. So that becomes important. You should always have your brain on, asking questions of yourself while you're reading a book. You should always do that. And one of those would be, when was the book written? So here it comes. Ryan, I hope you enjoy it. Chapter 1, Stopping the Spread. Have you ever had the flu? Have you ever had a flu shot? A flu shot is a vaccine. It is just one of many, that would be many vaccines that keep us healthy. How? Vaccines keep us from getting sick. Forms of vaccines were used thousands of years ago. So how long have vaccines been around? Thousands of years. People in ancient India and China used vaccines to fight diseases. They still work to fight diseases today. All right, so there's the disease that we don't talk about very much anymore, called smallpox. And there's a smallpox sore. And then there was a disease called cowpox. I'd never heard of cowpox. And in fact, I don't think you'll ever hear cowpox today. Vaccines, as we know them, have been around since the 1700s. In 1768, many people in England got sick. Some of them had a disease called cowpox. Others had another disease called smallpox. Both caused rashes and fevers. That's a rash. This doctor, called Dr. John Pasteur, discovered something. Some people could fight off smallpox if they'd already had cowpox. One fought off the other, which led him to think about all of that. Then along came a doctor named Dr. Edward Jenner, and he was studying in 1796. He took the pus from a cowpox sore, and he used it with a boy who had smallpox. And he did that to find out if the cowpox vaccine would fight off the smallpox vaccine. He discovered that it worked. The cowpox had acted as a vaccine, and this was big news. All right, so this was kind of a fun fact for me while I was reading it, because I studied just a little bit of Spanish. And a cow in Spanish is vaca, and that's where vaccine's title came from, because it originated from cowpox. Vaccines. There you go. There's a little fact for you. Now came along another doctor named Louis Pasteur, and Dr. Louis Pasteur built on Jenner's works. He made more vaccines. He made one for the spread of rabies, which is a disease that's mainly in animals but can spread to humans. So how do they work?
Also the guy that pasteurizing was named after.
That's right. Pasteur and pasteurizing. Vaccines were a medical breakthrough. They stopped the spread of the disease. How do they work? Let's learn in chapter 2. Let's say your friends get the flu. There's a needle. Some have dead germs, some have weaker germs, and some of them just have a little bit of the germ. The needle pokes you. Others come as a nose spray. So there's more than one way to get a vaccine. Germs have something in them called antigens.
My little brother always does not want to go to the doctor.
Oh boy.
Shot.
I'm going to tell you, this book right here is a good one for him to read. I'll show that one. Anyway, germs have antigens. They alert the immune system inside your body. And then what happens? Your body makes something called antibodies. And those antibodies attack the antigens. The antibodies stay in your body for a long period of time and even can fight antigens if the disease comes later. So that's a pretty good picture that takes a look how antibodies work in your body to fight against antigens. So getting a shot. This chapter is called Getting a Shot Today. You can tell your brother about this chapter. Many people get shots today. We get flu shots. What else? We get shots for measles. We get shots for mumps. We get shots for chickenpox sometimes. Some people cannot get shots. Some people have an immune system that's not strong enough to fight off the vaccine that is in the shot. But other people can still help them stay safe. How? They can get their shots. This makes it harder for the disease to spread. Vaccines are important, but not all diseases have vaccines. COVID-19 is one of them. As of late 2020, scientists were working on a vaccine for COVID-19. Vaccines stopped the spread of the disease. They saved millions of lives. That's what led me to check the copyright, because of course we do have a vaccine now for COVID-19. Done with book number 1. I'm going to move right on to this next book. This one is Thank You, Dr. Salk. This is going to talk about one specific disease and one set of vaccines for that disease. And the person who, do they call it invented? Maybe they call it discovered. They discovered the vaccine. Jonas Salk. I think I skipped a page. Thank you, Dr. Salk, the scientist who beat polio and healed the world. Jonas Salk watched his neighbors pass by on canes, on crutches, in wheelchairs. The polio virus had struck his city. Polio stiffens the legs, the arms, and the necks of people. Some victims even die from polio. No one knew what caused this disease and how it spread, and everyone was very frightened of catching polio. Adults kept away from bakeries and banks. Children kept away from pools and parks. People prayed for a cure. But who could stop this terrible epidemic? Jonas knew who. He would do it. He's still a boy at that particular age, and he already has this in his head. I'm going to find the cure for polio. So, not everybody thought that Jonas was going to be able. Jonas, few of his classmates saw him as brave. He kept quiet in class. He could not run as fast as the other students. But Jonas knew a different way to be brave. It came from his Jewish religion. He dreamed of Tikkun Olam, which means healing the world. Jonas vowed to stamp out polio. Vowed means like promised or pledged. It became his goal to stomp out polio. He would do it by reading books, learning mathematics, and training to become a scientist. He needed to think of something no one else had thought of, something big. Jonas studied science while he was in elementary school. Are you in elementary school? No? Yep. Kindergarten. I think he might be a little older than kindergarten, but he's in elementary school. He's already studying books. He studied more books in high school. Then he went to college, and then he went to medical school to become a doctor. Dr. Salk buttoned up his lab coat. He was ready. And in 1947, he began the search for the vaccine for polio. Scientists make vaccines to prevent diseases in the human body. Vaccines had beaten out other kinds of viruses, such as influenza and smallpox, one that we've already talked about today. But nobody could seem to find the way to beat polio, the sneakiest of all viruses. Do you think we still call polio the sneakiest of all viruses? Maybe not.
Yeah. Maybe a spoiler for how this ends.
Yeah.
Not really.
Jonas filled test tubes. He peered through his microscope and he grew samples of the virus. He experimented with many, many kinds of vaccines, but he couldn't quite find the right mixture to make the vaccine. People heard about the kind young man trying to stop polio. Newspapers wrote about him. TV cameras filmed him. Children even sent him dimes to do research. It was called the March of Dimes.
Why Eisenhower is on the dime.
Yeah.
Day.
Oh, is that right? Wow, I didn't know that one. The March of Dimes. In 1952, Jonas tried a new experiment. A big one. He grew the 3 kinds of polio viruses in his laboratory. He poured in a chemical that would make them harmless, and he mixed them into a vaccine. Could these harmless polio viruses guard against the dangerous ones? He then did some experimenting. He volunteered on himself, and then his wife volunteered, and then he used the vaccine on his own sons. By 1954, he knew that it was safe. It was time to test the vaccine on millions. 2 million first, second, and third graders lined up to take the vaccine.
Correct, it's FDR, not Eisenhower.
All right.
Same reason.
Correction. Very good. March of Dimes. But FDR is not on the dime. All right.
Yeah,
Is he? Oh.
I think so.
Right.
Am I all over the place here? Am I falling apart?
I don't know. We'll have another side story here. Doctors and nurses came with trays and trays of vaccines. Parents, teachers, and principals served as volunteers. The children rolled up their sleeves for their polio shot. The volunteers gave them a lollipop, a pin, a certificate, a special card. Everyone was proud to have helped Dr. Salk prevent polio. Scientists spent the next year checking to see if the vaccine worked. And on April 12, 1955, they had their answer. Jonas joined them to tell the whole world the vaccine worked. It beat polio. Now, not quite eradicated polio, but it did beat polio.
Polio still exists.
Still exists today, but it's a very small percentage of people. There's a few more pages in that book. I'm going to let that one go.
It is FDR on the dime.
Okay.
Because he started March of Dimes.
Very
Polio
good.
vaccine gets synthesized during Eisenhower's term.
Okay.
Using funding from March of Dimes.
The third book, Vaccines. I just want to read a couple of pages to you. This one is found in the Bemidji Library too. And when I open it up to the very first page, the one that I wanted to read to you, The page shows the polio virus. It's right there. And so that ties to the book we just finished about Dr. Salk. There's a picture of the polio vaccine. Next page I want to show you. Lots of information on this page. Vaccines allow the body to have like a trial run at fighting a disease without the body actually being infected by the disease. A vaccine is a small amount, a safe version of the disease in its dead or its weakened form. The vaccine is powerful enough to trick the body into thinking it has become infected, but not powerful enough to cause those symptoms that the actual virus causes. Skip a couple pages. I like this bottom part. It's called the disease checklist. There are diseases that are caused by parasites. There are diseases that are caused by fungi. There are diseases that are caused by bacteria. And then there are diseases caused by viruses. All right, so how does your body fight off a virus? There are two parts in your body where we generate T cells and B cells, and those cells are the ones that go and attach themselves to the virus and then grow until they can defeat the virus. They are created inside your body.
What's it say about allergies there? As a person who's very allergic to one of our stars of the show.
All right. Thanks for your request. Ryan is allergic to Orion. He's allergic to this bunny and probably the bunny fur. The body's immune system can mistakenly identify things that are harmless to most people as harmful invaders. Animal fur or pollen, for example, can produce an allergic reaction, such as a rash. Anaphylaxis is a rare but very serious allergic reaction that can be fatal. So even though I'm not allergic to Orion, Ryan is allergic to Orion. My last page talks about Louis Pasteur and then talks about the discovery of rabies and the vaccination for rabies. Get your ears on. In 1885, while studying rabies, Pasteur produced his first human vaccine. Rabies had puzzled Pasteur because he could not find the microorganism causing it. Unknown to Pasteur, rabies is caused by a virus. Viruses multiply and mutate, change quickly. Pasteur passed the virus through rabbits to come up with the vaccination. You were the star of the discovery for the vaccination for rabies, Orion. Last book. Fish are not afraid of doctors. Fish are not afraid of doctors. There are no rabbits in this story. There are fish, though. Oh, so what animal is cool? Is that a rabbit? Do you think that's a rabbit? Well, I think we do have a rabbit in the story. Who knew? Maud went to see Dr. Susan for a checkup. Maud, can you guess what animal Maud is? Very good. Maud is a koala. Tick, 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 tick. Can you guess what time the appointment is? It's a little tough to see the clock, isn't it?
At 2 o'clock?
Must be 2. It's about 3 minutes, 4 minutes to 2. And Maud is sitting there talking to the fish. Do you think fish are afraid of doctors? Asked Maud. That's right up here. It's actually asking the fish. Fish don't go to doctors, said Mother. I wish I was a fish, said Maud. Maud, we're ready for you. It's now 2 o'clock. Maud, we're ready for you. Maud? Maud! She was here just a second ago, said the mother. Mother heard a small voice coming from behind the fish tank. Maud left. Yep, she's gone. See how they're coming from behind the fish tank? No one here but us fish, said another voice. You know, fish don't talk, right? Said Mother.
The doctor, like porcupine or something?
This is still the mother. Oh, yeah. What animal do we have for the doctor? Think it's porcupine?
Oh. You're gonna use one of her own prickers as the needle?
You get it out there? Get the inside joke? Everybody follow me, said Dr. Susan. Examination room. Safety first. Coral reef. There's Maud. She's taking her shirt off. Dr. Susan looked in Maud's mouth. Then she looked at her eyes. She listened to Maud's heart. Maud listened to Maud's heart. Next time you go to the doctor, ask if you can listen. See what your doctor says. Just say, can I listen to my own heart? Everything looks good, said Dr. Susan. All you need now is your vaccination. What's a vaccination? Asked Maud. Oh, it's just this teeny tiny little shot. You will hardly feel it, said Dr. Susan. See the needle? Said Dr. Susan. Oh dear, she's gone, said Dr. Susan. I think it was something I said. Mother knew right where to look. Hello in there? Why do I need a shot? Asked Maud. I'm not sick. A vaccination is a special kind of shot that keeps you from getting sick, explained Susan. Do you want to see that page? Are fish afraid of vaccinations? Asked Maud. I don't think fish take vaccinations, replied Mother. I think that's true, Ryan. Do you think fish ever take vaccination? We know that.
I wouldn't be shocked if there's like fish vaccines out there.
I wondered about this when I got to this page. I'm not sure how they would give the
We tend to worry
vaccination.
more about like bacteria and fungi with
have
fish.
a pet fish and he never knew.
Yeah, most people probably don't, but I bet there's some scientists out there that'll vaccinate fish.
Well, the answer is, according to the mother, I don't think fish take vaccines. Maud says, I really wish I was a fish. Sigh. You know how to sigh? You know what it means to sigh? It looks like this. She's sighing. Then she shuts her eyes. That's important. See her eyes shut? The next time you're about to get a vaccination, you could use the Maud technique. She closes her eyes. She pretends that she has two floppy fins. She pretends that she has some shiny red scales. She pretends that she has this swishy, swooshy tail. Eyes are still closed. She pretends that she's swimming in the deep blue sea. She sees lots and lots of colorful fish. She even sees this big, squiggly octopus. Eyes are still closed. You might want to use this technique next time you go to the doctor. She found a herd of sea turtles. She patted the sea turtles. Patted like this. Then she went swimming with a great blue whale. And she blew lots and lots of bubbles. And lots of bubbles. Maud! Maud! Maud, it's time to go now. Should I read that page again? Maud! Maud, it's time to go. You remember what Maud's been doing? What?
Closing her eyes and she didn't even feel herself.
Very good. The answer was she had her eyes closed and she was dreaming about mostly fish. We're all done, said the doctor. What? We are? Replied Maud. See, that wasn't so bad, said Dr. Susan. Have a sticker, said the doctor. You were very brave, said Mother. Don't you know, said Maud. Don't you know, fish are not afraid of doctors. And by the way, there's a page right here that talks about the practice of closing your eyes and dreaming and even blowing bubbles while receiving a shot.
So, oh, well, they do vaccinate fish.
Okay, there are
Particularly
vaccinations
on,
for
like,
fish.
fish farms, that's the thing.
Very good. And I want you to try that. Next time you're going to get a shot, you could close your eyes, dream about fish, blow bubbles, see how it goes. Thanks for tuning in today. We're signing off. Thanks for being in the audience today. It's always fun to have somebody to read to. We do this almost every day. Tune in on Friday, especially if you want to follow up to today's stories. Tune in on Friday. We do this. We're open 9:30 to 5 o'clock.